Talked about Conor today, too. We got Conor news coming up. We got Oliveira news coming up. We got Chandler news coming up.
So, not that it's rocket science, but where was Dana looking when he said we got news coming up? He's looking at the war room wall. Okay? Long story short, he's looking at the war room wall. And I want everyone to remember that I said they were fighting in December. Remember that? I said that. Everyone's all, Jesse, you ran fake news, dude. Jesse, you ran fake news, dude. Don't you remember that? This is the day after I said Conor looks soft and is never coming back. But I did say that Chandler told me they're going to fight in December. And guess what? He looked up at the wall and he said they got a date. So that is very exciting. Hopefully everybody signs. But you know what I mean? Looks to be booked, right? He looked at the war room wall. Looks to be booked. Now, let's get into some other news that is equal or more interesting. I just actually have an entire other video. I just tacked this on at the front because why would I not? Because I love you guys like that. Now, in addition to that story, we also have Jon Jones responding to Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall was doing a live stream the other day, and they were having him like, who's the number one this ever? And it was like, who's the number one ducker? It's like, come on, hey, is that a setup question? Like, and he's all, the number one ducker, obviously, is Jon Jones. And Jon Jones is like, this dude cannot get my big black dizzy out of his mouth. And I was like, damn. Listen, I have no doubt that he is hung like a mammoth. What? But I don't think that is Tom Aspinall having it in his mouth. I think Tom Aspinall is trying to talk his way into the biggest fight that he can possibly get while having the belt, and he wants to solidify himself as the world champion. So anybody who thinks that Tom Aspinall should not be talking about Jon Jones does not understand the fight game at all, because he definitely should, and he should continue to do that. Because then, if Jon Jones beats Stipe, obviously he can't retire, because then he really will be a huge ducker. Tom is doing exactly what he should be doing. Now, let's talk about the main course of this video right now. Dude, Ariel looks like a baby in this clip. Look at him. He looks 5. How did Ariel go from 5 years old in 2010 to whatever he is now? He's got some stature to him now. He's got a family and a beard and his own show. And in 2010, he was 5. That is so weird. And this is an important conversation, okay? Jon Jones now versus Fedor in 2010 is an important conversation, and we are going to compare exactly what he says here. So Dana White's hottest topic recently has been the Jon Jones pound-for-pound list, him being number 1. It clearly really matters to him because we land on this every single time. I am certainly not in a position to argue with him about who the greatest fighter of all time is, because I think Jon Jones is certainly a very easy case to make. But, when you make a case about pound for pound, you are forced into defending why you're saying that this person is this or that, right? I mean, like, it is a meaningless conversation at the end of the day. It's like, hey, who's the pound for pound greatest in the world? It's like, okay, so you're talking about this person who will not fight this person, and then this person who will not fight this person. So it's like, you have to set the rules and go, here is why I am putting this person here. So Ariel, who, listen, certainly does not lack an analytical brain that if you are inconsistent, he might get you. And in this case, I think he got him, dude. I think he got him. It gives me no pleasure to do this, dude. I am a Dana White glazer, and that is a moniker that is accurately bestowed on me. So, but let's watch this. And I will try not to interrupt it that much, but I'm not very good at that. So just buckle up. I mean, listen, dude, if you don't like listening to me talk, what are you doing on the channel? That's what I do. I talk like an imbecile. Too much. Now, because I love you guys, I'm going to tell you that if you are super familiar with Dana's entire argument for why Jon Jones is number 1 pound for pound and you don't need a refresher, the part that you're going to want to watch starts around 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So if you want to skip there, you won't hurt my feelings. But you'll miss some funny jokes, dude, and you'll miss a refresher on exactly why Dana says that Jon Jones is pound for pound best. And then you'll be able to assess that against what he said in 2010 and decide whether or not he's contradicting himself. So, and because I give you that, now you can subscribe to the channel out of gratitude if you have not done that yet. I love you guys. Enjoy. Good Lord.
Yeah. Question me. Who's better than Jon Jones? Who's pound for pound better than?
No. Okay, Jon. At what point does activity come into play, right? I mean, we all agree there is nobody better than Jon Jones. He's the greatest of all time. There's no question about it. But at some point when you're looking at rankings, they do have to represent what's happening in the organization at that moment, right at that time. And in the past 3 years, he's had one fight.
And that is a very, very reasonable point, dude. You know, very reasonable point. And again, I'm not going to speak for Dana on why this is so important, but I would say certainly that losing the heavyweight champion for the first time ever to another organization, I believe definitely has to, like, probably, whether consciously or unconsciously, play into why he feels so passionately about this, but I don't know.
You thought he lost to Reyes.
Huh?
And when he fought Reyes, you said you thought Reyes won the fight.
He didn't win the fight. Jon Jones did.
But you said you thought he won the fight.
Who gives a I'm not the f***ing judges. The guy didn't win he didn't lose the fight. And the one
that's a dumb argument from I think that's Aioli, right? Like, Jon Jones won the fight.
one loss that he has is from a referee that should have never been a referee in a million years. He's never lost. We were just talking tonight, these kids that come in here that are undefeated, you know how hard it is to stay undefeated? Jon Jones went through murderer's row. And when you talk about activity, and he's fought one time, but Jon Jones was supposed to fight. If Jon Jones was sitting on the couch and saying, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to fight again, then he's definitely not in the pound for pound discussion right now. He was scheduled to fight and he got injured. He is an active fighter. He is absolutely an active fighter. And when you talk about pound for pound, and I don't want to hit on any of my other guys, but who is it right now? Islam?
My reaction was I just looked up Jon Jones' list of like his last however many fights, and it is, I mean, we're going to look at that in a second.
Islam, many people believe, lost to the guy who's a weight class below him. Is that how pound for pound works?
Yes.
Many people.
In that case, yes. I do believe that is exactly how pound for pound works. For sure. I don't think that's a very good example that he gave. Just in fairness, I don't think that's a great example because Volkanovski was one weight class below, undefeated, had been undefeated in UFC at that time, very dominant. He fights I guess he wasn't that dominant yet, but clearly a guy who hadn't lost in however long, and they fought at 55. Volkanovski went up, and a lot of people thought he won. And, I mean, that is exactly what plays into pound for pound, right? He's that dominant at 45. He comes into 55, and some people even thought that he beat the dominant champion at 55. I mean, that, to me, that is exactly what pound for pound is.
Including people in this room.
But he got the win. It doesn't matter what we
You're absolutely right. But he fought a weight class down. Jon Jones fought a weight class up. And let me tell you what, when all the guys were in there, you had the Jon Jones, the Anderson Silva.
Wait. I'm sorry. I might have talked over this. I got to go back a couple seconds because you said who fought a weight class down.
Jones fought a weight class up. And let me tell you what, when all the guys were in there, you had the guy who's a weight class below him. Is that how pound for pound works?
Wait a minute. Wait, what? Is he talking about Islam? I thought he was talking about Volkanovski. So I'm saying Volkanovski is higher.
Islam, many people believe, lost to the guy who's a weight class below him.
Right. Oh.
Is that
right? I'm saying Volkanovski proved that he was the top pound for pound, was my point. I'm apologizing.
How pound for pound works? Many people, including people in this room.
But he got the win. It doesn't matter what we
You're absolutely right. But he fought a weight class down. Jon Jones fought a weight class up. And let me tell you what, when all the guys were in there, you had the Jon Jones, the Anderson Silvas, and the George St. Pierres. I know who wanted to fight who and who didn't want to fight who. And Jon Jones has always been willing to fight everybody. It's fucking silly.
Okay, so I bet you I'm going to tell you right now, he's talking about GSP did not want to go fight Anderson Silva. I guarantee you that's what he's talking about. Guaranteed. That's what he's talking about right there.
And I don't know what this game is with everybody, but Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Until this guy, and he has been he hasn't fought, what'd you say, 18 months since the Cyril Gane fight?
18 months and then 1 in 4 years.
So 18 months, he moved up and he fought Cyril Gane and destroyed him in a weight class above him, who was the #1 guy in the world. And
I am going to push back on that a little bit, right? Like, Cyril Gane is nasty. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I'm not going to push back on that. Jon destroyed Cyril Gane. That was very impressive, and Cyril Gane looked great afterwards.
And I'm in the UFC. Then we book another fight. He's training for the fight, blows his shoulder out, which means he's still active, gets surgery, recovering, and is scheduled to fight in November. He is an active fighter.
Meanwhile,
He hasn't fought anybody.
Okay. So let me show you guys something really quick. I apologize. I'm just going to go like this. I'm super quick, you guys. Super quick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it's taking this long. That's why I'm just talking. I'm talking like this because I need to pull this up. Bam. All right. So this is Jon Jones. You know, his last however many. So you got Cyril Gahn in March of 2023. Dominic Reyes in February of 2020. So before that, I mean, listen, dude, Jon was very active. Very active. Even with his suspensions and stuff. But February 2020, doesn't fight for 3 years. March of 2023, and then since then has not fight. Now that is not his fault, though. That is not his fault. So here's the thing. Dana's point is not incorrect, dude. His point's not incorrect. Now, if Jon had not come back in March of 2023 and then had not gotten injured, then I think there is a very valid way to push back on this entire thing, of course. But because his comeback fight was only in March of 2023, which is a long time ago, but he tore his pectoral muscle. Like it's not like he wanted to sit out. He got injured, okay? He is the legit heavyweight champion. Now, obviously, the enormous, like gorilla whale in the room, gorilla whale. You sound so racist, okay? You want to say whale in the room and you said gorilla about Francis Ngannou? A whale doesn't look like Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou is the strongest dude I've ever seen, and that does sound kind of racist, doesn't it? It does sound kind of racist. I apologize that I didn't mean it racist. I meant it as a fucking compliment. Jesus. See, a pussy would edit that out, but I'm not a pussy, so I'm going to leave that shit in. Anyway, but, you know, outside of the Francis Ngannou thing, it's pretty legit. You know, tore his pec, that is a crazy injury, and now he's coming back. Now, listen, if Stipe beats Jon, imagine that situation. All right, so let's see what Dana said back then, and let's see if it contradicts, because truth be told, I haven't even watched this.
He's never lost
He's never lost.
in his career. 33
Since
fights.
he's come back, since the Pride days. Listen, if he was still fighting the caliber of fights from the Pride days, I wouldn't argue with you one bit.
Right.
He is so far from being the
Where
best.
do you have him?
Huh?
Would you put him top 5?
He hasn't fought anybody. The thing that you have to understand is if you take a guy like
never lost, ever.
Anderson Silva,
Oh, he's talking about Fedor. Wow. I apologize for not setting that up. He's talking about Fedor. Okay. And we're going to look at exactly who Fedor fought, and we're going to analyze what Dana says here versus Jon Jones. And this is an important conversation. Okay. Jon Jones now versus Fedor in 2010 is an important conversation, and we are going to compare exactly what he says here. All right, let's continue, and then I will pull up the Fedor stuff right now.
or St. Pierre, BJ Penn, any of the guys that are in the top tier in the heavyweight, they're fighting the best fighters in the world 3 times a year.
That's why I think GSP, well, he's been tested with Fitch.
You just said, well, Anderson Silva was hurt. He's been out. GSP was just hurt now for a while, too.
Yeah, but
This guy hasn't lost. He just broke the record for most wins in the UFC, for most title defenses. He's got, he's moving up and down in 2 different weight classes. Do you think George St. Pierre could go up to 80? I don't.
This is so great. I just looked. Fedor lost his next fight after this. This is amazing.
Even want St. Pierre to go to 85.
Why not?
Because he's a huge star, and I don't want to see him go to 85. He's doing just fine at 170. Anderson Silva, I believe he can go to 85 and could compete at heavyweight too. He's that fast, that talented, and that good.
He is.
Look at how much Dana loves this sport, dude. That's why he's the best, man. Look at how much he loves the sport. He's the best guy ever, man.
Pound for pound, best fighter in the world, boxing, pinochle, any other fighting sport out there, he's the best. I don't know how anybody can debate that. It's crazy to me.
The GSP fight.
And anybody to put Fedor in the #1 pound for pound in the world spot, it just makes no sense to me.
It has nothing to do with the politics of him not being in the UFC or whatnot. I think.
But how can you give him the respect when he hasn't fought the guys? I mean, these guys are fighting 3 times a year, the best fighters in the world.
Right.
But you're going to give him the respect? Makes no sense.
I think it does.
Absolutely makes no sense.
Because also, I don't consider, like, in middleweight division right now, like, yes, okay, Silva went out to fight James Irvin. The Forrest Griffin thing was one of the most amazing, spectacles I've ever seen.
We have it in slow motion where he slips.
Yeah, he only landed one punch. He only
slips
landed
his
one
right
punch.
hand, goes away from the hook, and then throws. Who the does that?
But I don't think Silva.
Nobody does that.
Like, I mean, it's 1A, 1B, 1C. I'm not saying there's a huge discrepancy in the guys, but I'm looking at these little
And listen,
factors.
there's no doubt. George St. Pierre is the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I think Anderson Silva is number 1. I'm just going crazy on you because you got Fedor number 1, and you got Anderson Silva number 3.
I was just trying to rile you up for
That's
the camera.
crazy. Show's over.
Ex-user AFeld MMA tweeted with
Okay. So A felt, oh, I'm sorry. I thought this is Ariel that tweeted this whole time. I got to go redo the beginning. With Dana White's pound-for-pound rankings being a hot topic, it's interesting to look back at his 2010 debate with Ariel Helwani. Dana's reasons for ranking Anderson Silva as number 1 included Silva's activity against top competition, his success at 85, his success at 205, and potential success at heavyweight. In a separate interview at UFC 116, just weeks after that debate, Dana reiterated that the best fighters in the world are the ones who fight the best 3 times a year. Dude, A. Feldman MMA. Hang on, I got to look this dude up before I just talk trash because I apologize. Like, this might be someone like I know, and I'm like, you idiot. But, dude, if you think that has aged bad for Dana, you are crazy, dude. Okay, so Ariel says, good call. Activity, movement wins. He said it himself 14 years ago, which is why I have Pereira number 1 pound for pound. Dudes, guys, activity, sure. More important, best in the world. This is, okay, like, no, guys. Hey, guys, no. No. Okay? He didn't just say activity. He said best guys in the world they're fighting. Look at this list for Fedor now that we have the, benefit of hindsight. Okay? So he said this in 2009. Okay? He fought Brett Rogers in Strikeforce. Okay? Let's see how Brett Rogers did after that fight. So Brett Rogers, let's see, Fedor Emelianenko would be right here. Then he lost to Alexander Volkan. Alistair Overeem. He won one by decision. Then he lost. Okay, so that's a nothing burger, right? So that's a nothing win. And prior to that, he had Andrei Arlovsky. Now that was a prime Andrei Arlovsky. I will give him that one. Tim Sylvia, 2008. I mean, I don't know, Hong Man in 2008, Hong Man Choi. That's a like a spectacle. That guy was just 7 feet tall. Matt Lindland is what, listen, no offense, Matt Lindland. I know you're like a volatile guy that'll probably punch me and strangle me if you ever saw me just because I said you are not top heavyweight in the world in 2007, but yeah, fucking right. Top heavyweight in the world 2007. Mark Hunt, very, very good. Mark Coleman, very good, but I was at that show, and that Mark Coleman was over 40 years old. I was there, 6th row. Wagner, I'm not even going to lie. I don't even know who this is, dude. I literally don't even know who this is. Mirko Krokop, all day, but now you're back in 2005. So going into this conversation, Fedor had not fought a top guy aside from Mark Hunt, but like Mark Hunt was not like a top guy, and Andrei Arlovsky in the previous 5 years. So yeah, you got him on activity, but again, compare to, ready, Jon Jones, and this is nothing but top guys. He fought nothing but top guys, especially Chael. Look at this, dude. Nothing but top guys. I think that this is probably the bigger issue is the top guys versus just the activity conversation. But that is what it is. That is what it is. That's all I got, dude.